morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Simon. Good to be here.
So, a lot of students have always asked me what a product manager does. So, for someone who's never came across your work before, how would you introduce yourself in a way that tells us who you are, not just what you do?
Yeah, in terms of who I am, I like to think of myself as a certified yapper. I love to talk to people. And in that space, I love to talk to customers. I love to talk to my engineering team, both understand the technical side of things, which is what a product manager needs with whatever product they're working on, and be able to break that down in a way for customers to understand whether it's a new product that's being released or it's a product that you're trying to get more customers to use or understand. I think that's kind of where a product manager lives. In a lot of ways, a product manager is a certified yapper.
Yeah, because a lot of students, I feel like, think that product marketing is like, okay, we own this product. How do we enhance these features? What improvements can I add? And just talking to the business users to see what enhancements are made. So for your specific product and what you do, walk me through that day to day.
Yeah. So just a quick background. I am a product manager here at Microsoft, and within Microsoft, I work in Azure policy and governance. So a day-to-day for me looks like, you'll wake up and you'll have, a 9 o'clock meeting, and that meeting might be a meeting with the engineering team to get like a status update, see currently what engineers are working on. And usually that's broken into like a 2-week sprint. So as a product manager, your job is to help break these pieces down into smaller bits and work with the engineering managers to help give these individual engineers assignments that are scoped in terms of where they are in their skill level, as well as where the product need is and kind of the top priority, or what we call P0. And so that'll be about like a 30-minute meeting. You'll run through a list of items engineers are working on, and you'll get a status update. And if there are any blockers, either you kind of flag that to the engineering manager or other people in LT that can provide support in the sense of having other engineers come and help on, or with that, if there's something you could do as a product manager. So for example, if you're working with engineer and they're like, hey, I need access to this data source, and that's not something our team owns, it's your job as a product manager to chase that down to help unblock these engineers so that they can focus on their engineering tasks. So that's a kind of a quick overview with how it might look working with the engineers. And then a lot of times you'll come into these engineering calls saying, hey, I have some insight with some of the customers who are interested in our product. I've received some feedback recently that customer X, Y, and Z was interested in this feature, but they were interested in how it works in this way. Is there something I can share with them, from a technical aspect that helps resolve their question? And, you'll have dialogue around that, as well as, if a product is already released and we're just enhancing it, I'm able to go to the engineers and be like, hey, we've had customer ABC and they've been using this product and they've loved it. And, here's some feedback I've gotten from them. And that's something that allows me as a product manager to be a bridge between the engineers who are making the product, who might not necessarily see what the customers are doing with it and how they're using it, and the customers themselves who maybe have questions that are more technical or want to know kind of where the technical cycle of this product is. So that's one small part, with the engineering team. Like the other half I mentioned, you're talking to customers. So that looks like customer calls where you will pick a slot in your calendar and you'll talk with customers all around the world, because Microsoft is an international company. You'll either demo something, so you'll either do a live demo, you'll have a PowerPoint slide, or you'll have an MVP, meaning you have an idea that you want to run by them, and so you'll do like a customer interview. And so you kind of are that middleman between both the customer and the engineering team as that product cycle develops for whatever product or team you're on.
So yeah, that is a lot to think about, especially you coming from the dev side too, right? Yeah, tell us more about your full career, man.
Yeah, so if I'll rewind it even back, I come from an unconventional background in computer science. So before going into tech, I actually studied biochemistry, was on the path of pharmacy school, did 1 year of my doctorate, and realized healthcare wasn't quite the right fit for me. But I really loved the clinical and kind of the patient consultation part of things. I love being able to talk to patients about the medications they're using and knowing enough about the medication to be able to talk to them at a very specific and clinical level. So not necessarily making the medication, but being able to talk to them about the medication once it's made, how to use it, best practices, and so on. And so that's kind of a parallel to how I think about product management. At the time when I was going to school, a lot of my mentors had pushed me towards software engineering because it creates a good foundation in the world of tech, right? Being able to build a product from the ground up, being able to build something at scale, especially here at Microsoft, where a lot of our products reach, millions of customers and there's billions of requests a day. How do you build something that's distributed and scales well? A lot of these are really great foundations, and I did that for about 4 years here at Microsoft before finding myself kind of more interested in the customer experience side of things. And at that time, I felt like I had a good baseline of what, the technical side of things looked like for a product and how it's developed. And I think that actually laid a really good foundation for becoming a product manager, because then I can have conversations with the engineering team, understand kind of where they're at, what they're talking about, and be able to kind of see where the roadblocks really are and really have more honest and real dialogue with these engineers that I might have struggled with or had to spend some more time ramping up on certain technical aspects, coming purely in from just college.
Yeah, so let's dig in on the biochemistry part, because we had one of the students ask, where was a time and a moment in your career where you felt uncertain or behind, and what helped you move forward?
Yeah, I think in my career itself, right? Yeah, so I think there's kind of two major points. I think one was when I was actually in school and we were learning about different data structures, and it was really hard for me to wrap my head around like linked lists and certain other data structures. And at one point, everything felt very abstract, and it was hard for myself to, coming from all the biochemistry, when there's literally molecules, you can see them, you can understand them, to understand, how pointers work. And it's through example and iteration that really helped me in talking to my peers. And that's kind of a theme that I found in my industry, right? Like, if you're working on something and you truly don't get it or you're blocked on it, spend some time researching and figuring it out and doing some examples, whether you're writing code or you're learning about something new. If you're truly blocked, then talking to a peer who maybe worked on something similar, or, your professor or your TA, and making sure that they know, hey, I've spent X amount of time on this, I'm still not understanding it, or I'm still not able to get the code to where I want it to be. Can I get some help? And so early on in my career, one of the things I did was have a more senior engineer pair program with me. So they'd hop on a call, I'd share my screen, I would walk them through the debugger and what I've gone to and what I've been stuck on, and have them kind of help me at a point where I felt like I've done my due diligence. And I think that was really important to both, as an engineer, you do need to get your products out, or your PRs out. At the same time, making sure you're doing your due diligence to learn and try to get as far ahead as you can before kind of asking for help.
Right. And I feel like the big takeaway from that was just be shameless and learn how to ask for help, especially when you're behind.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Asta from our last episode wanted to know, what is something outside of work that's made you better at your job?
Yeah. So outside of work, I would say, I'll set the context. I think in the world of engineering and computer science especially, there are these like aha moments where it's not when you're sitting down at your desk and writing code, where you figure out how to unblock yourself, or you're like, hey, this is actually how I should be coding something. It's just those times outside of work where like you're taking a shower, or like you're having dinner and your mind goes back to the, to the coding assignment you were working on earlier that day, and you realize like, oh, I have the solution. And so for me, one thing I've really brought on myself is taking mental breaks in between work, right? So mental breaks could be like, hey, every hour on the hour, I take a 5-10 minute break where I just get up and go and walk and just turn my brain off and try to close off that noise. And a lot of times, like, especially in the workplace, like that allows me to come up with a solution, or helps me get to a different way of thinking that I could maybe not have been at just because I'm so scoped into whatever I was working in. I think, with that, I also think like having something outside of just the work where your brain is completely on, because at the end of the day, I know my brain turns to mush, especially if I've been thinking about something, or I've had a lot of customer calls, or, I was working on an engineering assignment. And for me, that thing has always been tennis or some sort of physical activity. But it's a way for me to focus on something else and kind of rewire my brain to think about, hey, get ready for this serve, get ready for this rally, and just kind of focus on that. And I find myself resetting and being able to enjoy myself in more focused times at work. So really finding something that allows you to turn your brain off or turn your brain off away from coding or thinking of tech itself has helped a lot.
Yeah, so with every guest, we also give you the opportunity to think of a question to ask the next person on the podcast. So what would your question be?
Yeah. I think especially with the world of AI and how everything is changing, what a software engineer has done a few years ago isn't what they're doing now in terms of, their code and what they do on a day-to-day. So my question probably for the next person would be, in 5 to 10 years, how do you think your job or your career will change and look like with AI and just the way that the world of tech is going?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love crowdsourcing ideas. And this is for all the students that's LinkedIn messaged me and asking to connect with our guests. So I'm offering you what's one problem you're trying to solve right now, whether in work, life, or habits. And here's your runway, students. Help him with his problem. Send a LinkedIn message to help him with this specific problem that they have, or at least get him 10% of the way there, rather than just a blind apply. So just some food for thought. But yeah.
Awesome. Do you want me to give you something? Okay. So something I'm currently trying to work on for myself.
It could be work, life, habits, anything.
Yeah, actually, one thing, and I've thought through some scenarios, but one thing I'd love to hear from friends or from folks, on this call is, how are you finding ways to balance your time with, whether it's school or work, your social friends and family? How do you balance that for yourself, and what is kind of what's worked in terms of giving everyone your time and attention? Because I think a lot of times, I get burned out where, maybe I focus too much on friends one week and not enough time with family, or I'm too focused on work, and then, friends and family take a backseat. So if I think about different relationship dynamics and time, how do I think about the best way to optimize that? And what does a healthy kind of setup look like?
Great. Okay. Be sure to message us on what you think for time management. And my final fun question is, what is the best $100 or less purchase that you've made that's brought you the most happiness?
Yeah, under $100. I feel like with the way cost of living is going, $100 doesn't go as far as it used to. But I have treated myself to a pair of linen pants, and in the summertime, especially when I need to be work casual, they both look nice, and also they're really breathable and stretchy. So that's honestly been my favorite recent purchase.
Awesome. Any specific brands? Maybe you can get a brand deal out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Abercrombie, honestly, rebranded. They no longer show their crazy logo on things, and that's honestly been really great. Like, a lot of my clothes happen to be from Abercrombie these days.
Yeah, and for context, he's based in Chicago. I may have to try those linen pants out because in Dallas it's still 100 degrees right now.
Yeah, and we're humid here. We're not as hot, but we're humid. So there's also that's also a thing.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for giving back.
Absolutely, Simon. Good talking to you.
Bye. Okay.